Greetings, Batavia Mayor Jeff Schielke speaking to you on Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. And as I think I've mentioned previously, we're changing kind of the timing format of this series of messages to the first part of the week versus the end of the week. Because by doing it at the first part of the week, we can let you know what's happening in Batavia in the next few days and let you maybe try to attend some of those things or at least be educated as to why you see a gathering of people at some point in time. So to begin with, I'm going to educate you a little bit and tell you that tomorrow night we are going to have a quote-unquote visioning session for the future of downtown Batavia. And that's going to be held at the Batavia Public Library building at Wilson and Batavia Avenue, starting at 6 p.m. and will adjourn about 8 p.m. And it's going to be in the library's founders room, which is kind of pretty close to the front door when you come in. And we've got some of our city staff in the planning department, and we've got an outside consultant who's going to be there to make some observations. And we're just going to ask people to give us their thoughts on what they would like to see in downtown Batavia in the next 25 to 40 years. And as you all know, if you've lived here for any length of time, in the last 40 years there's been significant changes in downtown Batavia. Everything from a school board office, which used to be a library, to a brand new library, to all the new housing units that have been built in and around the downtown. And certainly a number of new businesses, a new McDonald's store replacing the original one, and then there was the Walgreens drugstore that built up and built a new store versus the one they had in line, and goes on and on and on. So we've got some significant things happening, and there's a big discussion kind of what we should do with River Street, and so there's a lot of topics to discuss. I will tell you, people ask me as the mayor, what would you like to see in downtown Batavia? And I will tell you the one thing that I'm pretty strong in support of is to retain the depot pond in the water presence that it is. I think that that is a beautiful feature to have right in the middle of the downtown. It's a still flowing water source in the downtown area, so there's not a lot of fast moving water in it. In the wintertime we can use it for ice skating. And needless to say, during the year I almost can predict on what days certain groups of people are going to come down, and many of them stand along Houston Street at the end of the pond or the head of the pond, whatever you want to describe it, and have photographs taken of their group with the pond in the background. And I will tell you one special night that we see a lot of this activity is on prom night for Batavia High School, starting about 4 o'clock. Everybody comes down in their tuxedos and their beautiful prom dresses and has photos taken of themselves, and then there's a couple of big group shots made, and it's creating wonderful memories for a lot of people that 100 years from now people are going to look back and see their former relatives that lived in Batavia standing around that pond enjoying the night. So I just think that's an element of Batavia and a feature of our town that really we need to preserve. And so I'm a very strong proponent that we don't do anything that messes with the pond and changes its water structure at all. So I'll leave my comments at that, but that's where I'm going to be arguing. If somebody comes in and says, well, gee, let's take it out or fill it in or do something else, I think that pond has a long time future value to Batavia and making us a very special place in suburban Chicago. So I would encourage anybody that's interested in the future of downtown Batavia. Again, this is going to be on Wednesday night, January 25th at the Batavia Public Library in the Founders Room. And it's going to be kind of a managed thing, and they're going to ask for comments and maybe break up into smaller groups and do some exercises. But I think those who attend would be very helpful to Batavia to give us your ideas about what it is you see in Batavia and what the future of the town should be. That being said, there's a couple things before I quit I just want to make some reference to. The Batavia Police Department and the Fire Department are running themselves wild these days at all-time record levels of calls in both agencies. And in the police department, we try to maintain, and we do maintain, I believe, a high profile presence of ourselves in our highly marked squad cars. And we've got radios in every car that are connected to computers, and we've got body cameras on all the officers, so we're trying to record everything that involves us. And I think we're doing a good job of that, but the problem we have is that Batavia's been identified along with Geneva and St. Charles and Naperville and Wheaton, Glen Ellen and Lombard and several other local suburbs here in the western part as a place where a lot of senior citizens have, in the last few years, moved into and gathered. And specifically, I think there's a targeted audience of these senior citizens. A lot of it's done on the computer, some of it's done on the phone, but people call them and try to encourage them to give up private information about themselves, specifically credit card numbers or social security numbers or driver's license numbers or whatever, and then these folks take those numbers and try to, remove money from accounts or credit cards or whatever. And we have an ongoing, almost daily flow of those types of reports of somebody who just figured out that they gave their credit card number to some person who's now trying to remove money from the account. So just to all of our senior citizens, and if you're watching this, please, number one, keep them in mind for yourself, but tell your friends, be very cautious about disclosing any of your private information to anybody. Another scam we've dealt with is people call and these folks up and say, hey, we're from the Internal Revenue Service, and we've just reviewed your tax return, and you were $313 shy of what your report should have been. So what we're going to do is just give us your credit card number, and we'll charge your credit card of that $313, and then you'll be scared, you'll be cleared with us, and you won't hear from us anymore. Well, these people aren't $313 shy. This is somebody trying to entice them to give their number up so that they can then help themselves to the credit card balance. So please be careful of this, because this is really bad. Today I was in McDonald's restaurant, and I had a friend of mine come in and tell me of an experience his two elderly sisters just had, where they got a call from a group of folks that said they were in house repair, and three gentlemen showed up and said to them, well, let's go to the back of the house and look, and one guy's going to stand here in the front and wait for somebody else to come. So the two took these ladies in the back, and they walked around the garage and the garden and the back of the house. In the meantime, the guy that was left in front, apparently he went into the house and helped himself to a bunch of stuff in the house. And then everybody came out. He was already in the car, and the other two guys said goodbye and jumped in the car. And it wasn't until a short time later that the ladies discovered that they were missing all kinds of items in their home, and so they obviously contacted the Batavia police, and we're trying to follow that up now. But I mean, those are the types of senior crime that is taking place. So if you're a senior citizen, or you have some in the family, or your neighbor is, please alert them to be very cautious about giving anything over the computer, over the phone, or anybody knocking on your door that says they're here to help you and you haven't asked for the service. They may be just trying to work their way into your house and then distract you and then help themselves to something that they see in there. So I guess I've given you a little bit of perspective news and some good news and some bad news today, but that's the job of the mayor. So I wish you a very good week, and I will look forward to talking to you all again the first part of next week. Have a good time.